What's up, guys? Today we are going to do another installment of Tom's Tips About Stuff. Is that what we called it? I don't remember. Lacrosse stuff? Maybe, I don't know. Whatever. Let's go. So the last video I made like this was fun for me. It was fun to make, it was fun to edit, it's fun to see people's reactions and comments and stuff. I enjoyed it. And it felt good to get some of that stuff off my chest. Things that, coaches, we always complain about when we're talking to each other. So it's nice to share some of those things with players and parents and stuff like that. Number one, treat your goalies like royalty. Playing goalie it's no joke. At all levels. It doesn't matter how hard they shoot. It is a tough spot to be, and the pressure, the absolute intensity, the focus you have to have all practice, all game, it's unreal. And you couple that with pain, it's tough. It's a tough job. And on the flip side of that, goalies, that doesn't mean you can be an ass. You don't get a free pass to just do whatever, because at the end of the day, you chose this line of work, and you need your teammates to like you, because if they don't, in practice, shooters can put them on your shins if they want. Defense can be laid on slides and just let shooters light you up. So goalies, be cool, but the main point of number one is to, players, coaches, be cool to your goalies. Treat them well. Number two, no crease cranks. Now, I know crease cranks will happen in games. Sometimes your teammate will feed you on the doorstep and you'll be moving toward the goal and he'll feed you and you'll catch it loaded. That means out here in a shooting position, ready to go. So you're here, you're just gonna finish. You're gonna crank it, and that technically is sort of a crease crank, but that's understandable. In practice, just even if you catch it loaded, finish with some finesse, put it where he isn't. Don't take that crow hop step down from like the 3-and-3. It's not cool. So one of my youth teams, we had a problem with crease cranks. A couple kids in particular just couldn't get out of their head that they needed to just crank it, no matter where they were. And so I instituted, it was a lap if you crease cranked, and I demonstrated what it was and what I would prefer them, how I would rather them finish. And so they took a lap if they crease cranked. And that goes along with taking care of your goalie. Number three. Don't be afraid to question your coach. If he is a well-adjusted, mature adult, he won't be threatened by someone who is potentially younger than him, less experienced, less skilled, coming up with an idea that is maybe better than his, or potentially knowing more about something than him. And coaches, don't get your panties in a bunch if a player comes to you and poses an idea that is different from what you're coaching. You want to encourage that. You might be dealing with the greatest sports mind in the history of athletics, but he's 12 years old, so he hasn't really put it all together yet. But hear him out and absorb what he's selling you. Maybe it's a great idea, and it may be a terrible idea, but thank him for his input. Maybe ask him about it. Maybe say, well, I like that, but what if we did this as well? Include him. The chances are that we're not developing professional lacrosse players. Maybe one all through our entire coaching career, maybe none, whatever, but I guarantee you we're developing quite a few coaches. So hear him out, implement it if it's better, and be man enough to accept if it is better, his man up scheme or whatever, whatever he's bringing to you, but hear him out. Number three, develop your overhand shot first. Through my years of youth coaching and high school and now junior college level, there have been new players, or relatively new players, on every team. My A teams, my 15A team especially, that was all pretty experienced players. But what you see is kids who are new to the game, brand new, or maybe have played a year. They're getting much of their lacrosse education from highlights, Instagram clips, YouTube videos. The sexy looking shots, those are sidearm. There's no lie. Sidearm looks good, but it is hard to control if you're brand new. You're missing on this plane and the goal's here, and you're missing anywhere out here going sidearm. If you don't fully understand your release point or where you are in the field, how your angle looks. But if you're shooting overhand, and I'm sure you've all heard your coaches tell you this, if you're shooting overhand, you miss here, right? On this plane. So you're way more likely to put it in the goal if you come straight over the top. This 36 square feet right here in front of you, you know, you may miss high, you may miss low. You miss low, it may still bounce in. So your chances are a lot better to put it in the goal. I've talked to a lot of goalies, I've coached a lot of goalies, and if you're not shooting like 80 and up, a sidearm shot is much easier for a goalie to track. So drill that overhand shot. Make that overhand shot perfect. Both hands. I love the sidearm shot. I mean, it's absolutely as important as an overhand shot, but the overhand shot has to come first. Number 5, I think. Number 5? Number 5. I can't keep my numbers straight this time. Number 5, don't barf on the turf. If you're playing on artificial turf, even if you're playing on grass, get off the field. Sometimes, I know, like if you get your bell rung, you're concussed, sometimes it just happens. All right, if you're just gassed and you drank too much Mountain Dew right before practice, had a burrito and a hot dog, and your guts are a mess, you feel that coming. Get off the field, go find a dirt patch, a grass patch, a garbage can, and blow chunks in that. Do not do it on the field. That sucks. So definitely, if you can avoid it, and you can avoid it, don't barf on the artificial turf or on the grass field. Just get out of here. Go barf somewhere else. And this one kind of relates to that, turf, and how turf is kind of gross. So, number 7, shower after you play or practice on turf. Turf is nasty. Turf is notorious for giving staph infections. MRSA is now a big deal and has been working its way through teams, and people are thinking it's from turf, dirty turf. People are always hawking loogies, spitting, barfing, whatever else on turf, bleeding on turf, and they clean it, sort of. Rain, I guess, cleans it. Some fields or some facilities have that thing that will sanitize the turf somehow. I don't know. But the reality is that you can get a staph infection. You can get something like MRSA, which is hard to get rid of and can make you very sick. So after you play or practice on turf, take a shower. Get that stuff off of you. And if you get turf burn on your knees, elbows, whatever, clean it out with like a saline solution, apply hydrogel, dress the wound, and then keep it covered your next practice or game. If you get them on your knees, which is most common, wear tights or a leg sleeve. Don't let that keep opening up. Bandage it and then cover it. Nowadays, leg sleeves and tights are common enough that you can wear them all the time if you want. No one's going to judge you like they would have in the old days. Number 7. I believe this is number 7. If not, the number will be like right here or here. I don't know yet. So 7. Play team offense, team defense, team rides, team clears. Basically, play team lacrosse. That seems like an obvious thing, and most people are like, duh. I mean, it's a team game. But, we see it a lot, and coaches even make it happen. If you've got a horse of a midi, and there's not much else you can do team-wise, yeah, you're going to put the ball in that kid's stick, you're going to let him do his thing. But if you are looking to get recruited, I promise you, recruiting coaches, looking at your highlight reel, or out at a showcase watching you, they absolutely want to see your athleticism, your effort, your individual skills, right? Those things are really important. But if all you do all day is go 1v1, draw, fight through that double, get yourself to the cage, and finish, you're actually going to be more of a liability on that coach's college team because you're going to lose the ball at the next level. So draw, dish, communicating on defense, all that stuff, turning them back on rides, working together on clears, whatever it is. All these things are so important to the game of lacrosse. When I see a guy who can get to the rack or is hell-bent on getting to the rack and it doesn't matter who's in his way, I'm like, okay, this guy may score 6 goals right now at this, U18 tournament, but at the next level, if he doesn't fix that character flaw where he's got to do it himself, he's not going to get much playing time, and he's got a lot to work on. A lacrosse player who has stick skills, athleticism, can do it all himself, but is smart enough to understand when it's not time to do it himself and use his team, that kid's deadly. That's a kid coaches are going to want. Number 8, and this might be the last one for this episode. Don't let them in your head. Probably 4 years ago, and we were at a tournament with my younger son. I don't think I was coaching. No, I wasn't coaching because I had the video camera. And it was a team from, I think it was a team from Maryland. And if not, it was a team wearing all like Maryland uniforms. Like it was all Maryland flag everywhere. So I don't know. If it wasn't from Maryland, that's pretty cheesy. But the play was at the other end. My kid plays attack. Play was at the other end. He's standing there, his defender standing with him. And the defender starts pulling down his socks with his pole, with his stick. I've seen that happen hundreds of times. Defenders do that sometimes. And my kid is pretty particular, or he was at the time, he's probably less so now, but pretty particular about his socks. And so, he'd bend down and pull them up, and then the kid would do it again. And finally, he looks over at me, he's like, and I'm like, hey, just let him know. Let him know. I didn't really know what that meant, but I wanted him to figure it out. And I was basically saying, let him know you don't like that. Either use your words, or what Riley chose to do is the kid standing here, he just butt-ended him, took his butt end and just jammed it into his solar plexus right there. And the kid dropped. I mean, he dropped and he was rolling around on the floor and on the carpet or the grass, whatever it is. What are lacrosse fields made of? It was grass. Anyway, so the kid he was a mess. He was hurt. And their parents saw, or that kid's parents probably saw it, and they were screaming about it. And Riley just walked away. And the kid finally got up and he shook it off and he stayed on the field. And then he went and covered someone else and told his defender to go cover Riley, which was good. Riley fixed it. But the problem is, that night in the hotel, he said, Dad, if we play that team tomorrow and that kid does that, I'm going to do this, and he's thinking about all these things that he was going to do if the kid's playing with his socks. I'm like, dude, that kid won already because he's in here. You're thinking about him and what he's going to do to your socks, potentially. You're not thinking about lacrosse. So he won. He's in your head. Forget about it. So anyway, don't let him in your head. You have to focus on the game. And some kids chirp nonstop and they'll say mean things and they'll try to get you thinking about the wrong stuff. If they get you to start focusing on something other than the game, they've won, so don't let them win. If you're an attackman, just go for a walk, make him follow you. If you're a defender, just keep your stick on him. I wouldn't suggest poking to the solar plexus, but you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, guys, so that's it. I don't know how many we did. I can't remember. Maybe it was 8. Something like that. There will be more videos because there's still a bunch of stuff on my list that I want to talk about. Thank you for watching. You may disagree with some of these things. You may coach a totally different way, and that's fine, but this is my channel. These are my opinions, and if I'm wrong, it wouldn't be the first time. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.